Dumela ntate.
Now, you were called by, or you were requested by Colonel Mangena to do a peer review on this matter, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. TB1 and TB2 were fired by Warrant Officer Ramosepele. Now, the first port of call, when you received a request to do a comparison examination on this matter, was to compare Exhibit F, which is the exhibit bullet in this case, with the two testifiers of Ramosepele.
Yes, I hear.
And for contextual purposes, TB1 and TB2 are FMJ type bullets or ammunition.
I understand.
And according to the testimony of Colonel Mangena, when he compared the exhibit bullet, Exhibit F, with TB1 and TB2, the FMJs, he observed that the FMJs did not impart sufficient marks. Therefore, as you correctly testified, he had to go and test fire bullets that are closely resembling the material used in the exhibit bullet.
Yes, I understand.
In that regard, he then went to shoot further 8 tests, which are TB3 to TB10.
Yes, I understand.
Yes. And also for contextual purposes, he says that he fired all of those tests successively, randomly, without noting which one was an FMJ, which one was a CMJ, and among the CMJs without noting if this one is ANG, 6 hour, or the unknown make.
I understand.
Now let me posit there, Lieutenant Colonel Sireo. In your lab, regarding the processes and procedures, is there a particular worksheet that directs you what to complete as you do your examination, comparison, and the like?
There is a worksheet.
You have got a worksheet?
Can you elaborate on that?
The worksheet, each and every examination type that we conduct, there will be worksheets associated with that type of examination. So the worksheets are designed for recording what the examiner discovers during the examination process.
Okay. Now, besides the worksheet, say for example, there's information further. You've done several tests and there's incomplete space to record your workings. Are you required to have a notation or recordal on any document further?
Yeah, the worksheet is precisely meant for notes.
Okay. Right. Now, back to the subject matter of your peer review. You are then given, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you try to answer that under Mr. Mngomezulu's cross-examination, but Colonel Mangena says he gave you all the testifiers for you to compare, correct?
That is correct.
And you see the dilemma is this. That's why I'm asking you about the worksheet, because amongst those 10 testifiers, 4 of them are FMJ. That will be the 2 FMJs by Colonel Mangena, the 2 FMJs by Warrant Officer Ramosepele.
I understand.
Now, the point is this, and I've given you the context of Mangena to say the FMJs did not impart sufficient individual marks for me to make an identification. That is a positive match.
Yes, I hear that.
Now, in that context, let us jump onto this aspect, because I'm going to be up and down, so bear with me.
So you see, we're only 4 minutes into the video, but keep in mind, I have edited out a lot and he still has not landed his plane. One thing about Ramosepele for me, which is quite disappointing, is how long he takes to build his point. He goes east, west, back to Cape Town, up to Pretoria, and he goes on and on. He's very apologetic with his approach. And then at the same time, he's just said it right now. Listen, I'm going to be all over the place. So for me, I feel feel that is a point where if I had an opportunity, I'd give him feedback. He needs to improve upon his question asking technique, because honestly, this is exhausting. And I've edited out most of it, but I would say we're a good 15 minutes in and he hasn't asked a question. All we have is the colonel saying yes, 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 yes. Whereas opposed to Ngomezulu, or is it because we're spoilt by Ngomezulu? Ngomezulu literally went from hello, how are you doing, to this question, next question, boom, mic drop, in, out. So I feel that that is something Ramosepele absolutely has to work on, because I don't know where he's going. I don't know what his point is. And then here Umlungu, okay, and Umnisi are writing and taking a lot of notes, okay. They have a lot of notes that they're already taking. So we'll see where Ramosepele goes, and I hope he gets there soon. I truly do.
The AFT has got a theory of identification, and they also have got what they call the AFT range of conclusions. Are you aware of that?
I am aware.
And what are the range of conclusions that we can reach as ballistic experts after our examination?
It is an identification that we normally call positive. It is an inconclusive result. We have an elimination that we commonly refer to as negative.
And for argument's sake, and correct me again if I'm wrong, I'm not a ballistic expert, there may be a fourth one that is unsuitable for comparison, where the bullet projectile is so damaged that we cannot even put it under a microscope. Is that correct?
That is correct. That one refers to when the bullet cannot be used, or the specimen cannot be used for comparison purposes because of damage.
And as I was going through the literature on these aspects, it says also, with inconclusive finding, there are 3 categories under inconclusive. Are you aware of those categories?
I'm aware of those in the literature, yes, that is correct. The first one is called positive inconclusive. It's where in that case, there is an agreement of class characteristics and some measure of agreement of individual characteristics.
Siyabonakala-ke nokuthi kukhona ukuvumelana mayelana nempawu ezikhona ezingajwayelekile. Kuthiwa nanoma kunjalo lezi mpawu azilingene ukuthi zingakwazi ukuthi zisetshenziswe ukuhlonza.
There is a negative inconclusive. In this case, all class characteristics agree with some measure of differences. Yes, in terms of our procedure, operational procedure, we have only one inconclusive.
The essence of inconclusive is this. You cannot say for example, in this case, I don't want to fetch examples that are far-fetched and I'm lost in translation. Pertaining to this case, if an examiner says exhibit F, and which is the firearm, and exhibit the exhibit bullet in this case, I cannot determine either way whether this bullet was fired from this firearm, then that will be an inconclusive finding.
That is correct, my lord.
And let me take it further. With that inconclusive finding, I then produce a report that will be sent back to the IO of the case, the investigating officer, to say, this is my finding. It is inconclusive because I've looked at the bullet, compare it to the test, and yes, the class characteristics are discernible, they are there. And there is some agreement of individual characteristics, but they are not sufficient for me to make a finding that it is a match, correct?
Yeah, all reports, whether positive, negative, inconclusive, must be sent to the investigating officer.
Now, in the context of what I described to you with the work that Colonel Mangena did, when he said, when I compared Rulof's TB1 and TB2 with Exhibit F, I could not determine on the marks imparted on TB1 and TB2 sufficient marks for an identification. By procedure and what you've just explained now, he was supposed to make a report of that inconclusive finding, correct?
Akushayo ukuthi uRule sehlolile wathola ukuthi ke azikho impawu ezilingene zokuthi angathatha isinqumo ngoba kungacaci kahle umphumela kufanele abhale umbiko ophindisela ku IO ochaza ukuthi umphumela ucacile anginjani.
To whom? I say Mangena, my lord. I'm not saying the rule of say.
Mangena?
Yes. Mangena says I made a comparison between TB1 and TB2 with Exhibit F.
Yeah.
I didn't say rule of say because the rule of say only did the test fires.
Okay.
I think this is an oversimplification of the matter.
Yes.
It does not operate like that. Analysts are trained. That is why the training is specific and is specialized. They are trained to be able to discern or identify specific features on specimen under examination and make certain conclusions or decisions based on what they see. If an expert, an analyst examine a specimen and he realizes that on this specimen there is a problem of transferability or reproducibility, the analyst is entitled to fire additional tests. As the features on the specimen he has observed under the microscope has revealed to him that this is a possible firearm, he will be able to identify, for example, in this case, as it has been from the information that has been supplied to me now, that Mangena examined the full metal jacket tests, actually compared them with the exhibit bullet, which is of a CMJ type. He is entitled to fire additional tests which are as close as possible to the exhibit in form and in composition. That is what a responsible examiner will do. So he was within the parameters of the standing operating procedure.
Now, at least I'm no longer shouting because my voice was way there with this aircon. Now that I can think clearly, Mangena says, Colonel Mangena says, I fired additional test fires 3 to 10, TB 3 to 10, because, yes, one of the reasons is that I'm looking for the CMJs because the exhibit bullet is CMJ. But the second reason is that the nature of the firearm itself, the barrel is worn out, so the impartation or reproducibility of marks is not consistent.
I hear that.
And I'm not sure how your standards operate. You will clear it because I'm going to throw these questions for clarification purposes regarding your peer review. When you are given a case to peer review, does he also tell you information like part of the reason is that the barrel was worn out, for example, that's why I did not have sufficient marks, or he just gives you, it's a blind peer review, you are not told anything?
He didn't give me the details of the case.
I'm not referring to the merits of the case. I'm referring specifically to a ballistic tool mark that he used. Did he tell you that the barrel was worn out through wear and tear?
He never gave me such information.
Okay. Okay. And now we are at a stage. Your testimony is that you compare the exhibit bullets with all the test fires, 1 to 10. Is that my understanding?
I examined all the test bullets that were given to me, including the exhibit.
And for you, as you have gone through all the test fires, you make a determination that TB4 and TB8 gives me the best possible marks where I can make a comparison with exhibit bullet, correct?
Yeah, it was just a quick run through all the tests, and eventually I decided to use TB4 and TB8 for thorough analysis.
Okay, when you say you made a quick run through all of them, then you preferred 4 and 8. What does that quick run entail? TB 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. What does that entail?
It was just to familiarize myself with the general appearance of the marks and the system of rifling on the tests.
And at the time you were given this, did Colonel Mangena tell you that I have made an inclusion that is a positive match? Let's start there. Did he tell you that he made a positive match?
No, he did not tell me that.
Now you make your comparison focusing now on TB4 and 8.
A thorough comparison, yes.
Now, if I understood your evidence in chief yesterday, you started first by, and correct me if I'm wrong, with the methodology or the methods that you used, that you described yesterday, which are pattern matching and consecutive matching trial, CMS, right?
That is correct.
Right? And from the charts that you prepared, I'm not going to take you through all the charts. From the charts that you prepared, TB8, as I understand the charts, you use the line counting method, which is CMS, correct?
Just to be very clear,
Yes.
on the approach
Yeah.
or the methods
Yes.
that I followed. I followed the pattern matching method.
Yes.
With the pattern matching method, you are also able to identify both the striations and the impression marks. As I've already indicated that the two methods are not they are not mutually exclusive, or they are not in opposition to each other. But the current situation is that we use pattern matching at Ballistic South Africa. It will not be incorrect if one uses CMS because they both subscribe to the theory of identification.
And now and remember, on that aspect, I agree with you, that you can start by using pattern matching, and if you see the patterns and they are reproducible, you can even go to line counting, which is CMS. So I'm not faulting you on that aspect, and don't take it like I'm faulting you.
Let me go ahead and end this clip here because, as you can hear, there goes apologetic Ramosepele and over-explaining Sereo and over-explaining Rams. It's just a back and forth of the two of them, not really getting anywhere. At this point, they're just still stuck on processes and procedures. Which method did you use? What's your preference? Why did you pick bullet number TB8 and TB4? How did you get... So Rams is literally just laying the land for him to get into his actual cross-examination. That's the best thing I can say. So imagine that I've done a full video and I can see that it's going to stretch longer if I just wait for him to get to the meat of the things. Let me end it here. And you can see in comparison with Ungomezulu, not that I should compare them, but Ungomezulu, like I said earlier, starts off with hello, how are you? This is the questions I have. Thank you. Have a nice day. With Ramosepele, it's hello, how are you? How you doing? Tell me about your job. Tell me about the forms. Describe the form to me. What does the form look like? What are some of the questions that the form would have? And then once we're done with the form, now can you tell me, like, how does it work in the lab? What are the processes and procedures? Because, you know, Magena told us that he first of all tested the 2 bullets that Rulofs sent. So after he tested those bullets, after he analyzed those bullets and he found that it was inconclusive, why didn't he end it right there? And then, you know, Cyril goes on to say he doesn't have to end it right there. He has to do a minimum of 2 tests to analyze, but the end is infinity. So guys, Mangena could have done 20. Do you realize that? He could have gone all the way up to 20 for this project of his. So yeah, this is Mr. Leadership Boss over there at the Ballistic Experts in Dondoni, and he loves to clarify himself. He doesn't want to be misquoted. So this is a lot of restarts. I think they had a lot of false starts. It was exhausting for me, I'm not going to lie. But you know what? You already know there's a part 2, so make sure you drop that like, okay? That will help me get through the editing. I edited more out than I kept in. There's a part where I was like, let me just chop this whole session off. But one thing I want to mention that I want to go without not mentioning is that Judge Rata comes alive, okay? He's coming alive. You can see he's jump starting himself. The guy is still going, he's jump starting. He's not yet full what's it called? Full horsepower? No, he's not there yet. He's still warming the car up. The engine is still warming up. And you can hear his agreements. You can see his nods. There's a part I highlighted that for you. Yeah. So, you know what? This was all over the place for me. Sorry about that. But thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you definitely on part 2.